Hey everyone, this is Derek here, and we're right now going to review the SYAC vs Light match in the E7WC of the lower brackets. And this is a match that I was really interested in because I've been supporting Light in the tournament for the beginning because he's my guildmate, and I want to see just how he performs, and I can give you insight on kind of his thought process and kind of the way the match is going to plan out and why or why not like certain things are losing or bad or certain things are winning and good. So getting right into
Point
it,
where, need I remind you guys, there used to be a
we don't need them because we're going to give our own analysis, even though um, their analysis is pretty good, but this is my channel. So we see Arunka conquer the least pre-ban on SYAC's side, and a Renok New Moon Luna pre-ban from Light side. So Light is going to try to play a slower style while SYAC wants to deny a very aggressive style from Conquer Elias as well as Arunka that can like create a good disconnect for being aggressive. Um, Peyra, very strong unit, the strongest unit in my opinion in the entire game at the moment. But Light picks Tenebria, who's the strongest debuffer at the moment. And with the Fallen Cecilia on 2, he's denying 50% of the damage from Peyra's fixed, or not fixed, extra damage. But SYAC is going to go for the ML Peyra, or ML Arya, ML Arya band protection with C Phantom Poly. So C Phantom Poly will call Arya and create massive damage load on the enemy. But Harsetti being prod out on 3 disables his 2 openers that SYAC picked in hopes of limiting the amount of cycling that he will do, because 40% speed buff from ML Peyra and ML Politis's buffs, as well as the CR push, are very strong. Fire Flan coming out on 4 from Cat will let him kind of enter into this very tank down style. But SYAC comes out with a bystander Hua, which is insanely strong into all picks Light has, except for Afternoon Soak Flan, and even then, she can possibly solo Afternoon Soak Flan if she kills the other 3. Death Dealer Rail 5 is very good because he's going to enable like a kill on Afternoon Soak Flan, and if SYAC's Peyra's on Uberius Tooth, SYAC has a very good way of getting to this flan if FCC is banned or killed during the fight. On 5, we'll probably see another DPS from Light side. Hovering Spirit Iceline, as well as Moon Bunny. Rimuru, he picks Hand Guy to counter the DDR debuffs, as well as Hand Guy has his EE now. So it'll be very interesting to see, but A-Flan is banned, and DDR is banned, so now it's solo DPS Mediator into Bystander Hua. He has to kill Bystander Hua with the Mediator S2, and since it's a Harsetti game, it looks like this Mediator is tuned for Harsetti, so he could hit really hard. Spear Purification on Mediator to cut ML Peyra, potentially, or Politis, depending on which one takes first, and it seems like Politis will be the first one. So this could be potentially very good for Light. Harsetti's injury, which is going to be very good into ML Arya, but besides that, Harsetti's mainly there just for the removal of speed. See Mediator cut ahead. You can get this S3 off, which will stop defense break from coming out on enemy Peyra's turn, which will be very good for mitigating damage. Or you can opt for the S2 to try to kill, but I think it's better to go for the S3 here, since you don't know how much HP Hua has, and if he's not geared for one shot, I think it's not good to take the risk. You see S3 come out and only one debuff landed, just not good from Light's Tenebria, because that's a whole turn wasted, and now I think Tenebria will go down to Bystander Hua's S3, and we might just see him not having enough tempo on Mediator to do anything. And while Arya S3 comes out on the City, trying to kill her so she can get that tempo from her Emo Poly and Emo Pera. S3 should come out on the Tenebria. Only 12k HP, or currently 15k in total, so Mediator should kill him this turn. It goes onto the City. I do not think you should go into City here. I think you should just try to kill the light unit. Because now your bystander will fall to this Mediator S2. Unless he goes for the MO Pera, if he wants to potentially mitigate the amount of turn cycling that the left side has. I think bystander is the correct play. Barely kills. I'm surprised that is very low damage mediator, so it's probably a 250 speed mediator meant to be able to be useful outside of Harsetti's death. So I think this game should go to light if he's able to shut down this Emo Poly quick. When Harsetti takes this turn, if she takes the turn, it calls Emo Pera, which is really bad. You want to call Emo Ari here. So Harsetti can just finish off the Pera with this S1. We get extra injury on this Arya. There's not much SYAC's team can do outside of praying. He has to kill the Harsetti here. But this Arya is injured down. There's almost no way he can break through these barriers and apply enough damage to like Mediator through FCC shields. So it looks like Light will be taking game 1. Once this Mediator's S2 comes up, it's game over. And we have dual attack with Tenebria, which is very strong. This will let Mediator cycle himself. No more buff on ML Poly, so no dual attack. So Mediator just having free reign to just cycle his entire team. No counter from ML Arya. It might not even be a counter ML Arya. So the provoke comes out, like, what can you do now? Your S3 is up, you don't even get the second proc. It's over. I don't think there's any way for SYAC to win that. That was a good game 1 from Light. I think the Harsetti pick was very good because SYAC was getting too aggressive with the speed openers. Emo Pera is very good in Harsetti games, but Emo Poly is kind of a weak unit overall without Arya, and then you're putting her down a notch with the Harsetti pick. It kind of just feels like you're down a unit when you play like this, when Harsetti is open. I think he needed to play a little slower and maybe bring out the Emo Poly on 4-5 instead. Like, A Flan was open as well, so Harsetti is viable in this spot for Light to just pick up, and Mediator actually did come in handy with shutting down the bystander pick. I mean, I don't think there's much else SYAC could really do besides playing a safer option on 2 instead of MO Poly. So 0-1 in Light's favor. Light getting the first match up on SYAC is very good, as Light's count is very good for playing the longer duration games. However, he could fall into a pit where SYAC will just now force speed units into him because Harsetti has been taken out game 1 and it will only be game 3 when it's available, and SYAC could go for a Harsetti ban on game 3 and just fully send all speed units onto Light, and Light will have to just play on the back foot. Let's see what bans both sides will bring out. I feel like Light will go for anti-cleave bans, while SYAC might go for just anti tank bans, most likely. Ooh, I mean, Elenov and Zio is gone. He's going to go for a very cleave angle, I think. while Celine Tordy are gone from Light side. Light is scared of the potential of Celine cleave, as well as Tordy a Ross just running over in a standard draft scenario. I feel like, yeah, Dragon Bride Xenia comes out on 1 because he knows DDR is banned. So we're going to probably see a very cleave centric draft. Light bringing out ARAM BM Haste early because Empyrean Ilanov is banned, setting up a very good angle to counter cleave. The Urban Shadow Shoe Hover is very possible to be selected due to the fact FCC has been banned, and yes, it has been locked in. And we might just see, instead of this aggressive draft, we will see a switch into a fixed damage based draft, as the anti-cleave has been picked, and now this fixed damage is very good into Blood Moon Haste, as Blood Moon Haste is most likely Proof of Valor, and Proof of Valor does not reduce the damage taken from fixed damage, as well as Urban Shadow Shoe is going to provide so much injury that BM Haste S3 might not even kill. And currently, it just looks very bad for Light trying to defend against the potential cleave early on with Blood Moon Haste ARAM. But this Urban Shadow Shoe is a very fast unit, and Light might not even be able to contest her when she's cycling turns non-stop and providing injury. Bellion comes out, which is, in my opinion, counterintuitive, because Urban Shadow Shoe will injure down your team. You need to pick anti-injury units. Fene, the problem with Fene here is Fene's very good into Urban Shadow Shoe if she's able to take turns. But with the way it's panning out, will she be able to take turns enough to shut down enemies before she just dies outright? Because it just looks very hard for right side to handle the amount of pressure left side is putting on him. The strays on 4 with knockwall, it's very heavy pressure from SYAC, trying to deny Bellion and BM Haste potential counters. Trying to seal Fene to kill her outright is also a potential play. Stray's S3 is going to annihilate the team, and now Light has to find something to alleviate the pressure applied from all these aggressive picks. Laya, and maybe just going to handshake band Knockwall if they SYAC bans Laya, or also just go straight out for a Strays ban. Yep, he goes for the Strays ban. So Light is going to be fighting Knockwall, and she can just have the potential to seal Blood Moon Haste and kill him outright, or just seal Fene if she lands. Now ARAM is taking the second turn after. Bellion resists the bind to get a 3F off early, but now this gives Festive Edda her passive. So now it's not looking too good. Fene was tagged, and now we will have to see if he will just whale all his power into Fene to kill it off. Aram cannot do much. She can S3 and maybe try to prevent the kill. It cleanses the unbuffable, right? I think. Or the bind, I mean, not unbuffable. So bind's removed, but I don't think his Fene is counter. And this injury will be applied to BM Haste. And we probably will just see this BM Haste be wailed down into oblivion. Shyness comes out. If this lands on BM Haste and Bellion, in my opinion, I think it's game. It lands in the BM Haste, Bellion counter comes out, which does help a little bit to remove some of the speed buffs. But right now, this BM Haste just looks like he's in trouble. Fene S1 can come out on the Knockwall, kill her, but I think Urban Shadow just kills BM Haste here. And the dual attack comes out, but I don't think it was needed. I think BM Haste would have just died to the fixed damage. And now, if Urban Shadow takes a turn before this Fene unseals herself, it's looking very dire. ARAM healing up the team, We have to look for a decreased hit chance, I believe, on a Chew to deny Fene kill, and we do land. But Sweet Miracles comes out and cleanses it. It looks like Fene will be falling, and this game looks over. It should be 1-1 now. I don't think there's any way Fene survives this. Yep. And Bellion cannot solo. Very good draft from SYAC to put the pressure on Light. Light's still here, but there is no possible way Light wins this because Urban Shadow will just run him down. A solid win for SYAC. Should be happy with that. That was definitely a game 1 in drafting phase. Skip ahead. So 1-1. In game 2 we see a Requiem Rowana Harsetti ban from Light side, which is very interesting. And a Harsetti ban as well from SYAC side with the Tenebria. And since Light has first pick, he's probably just going to get the prio of Peyra on 1. SYAC brings out the FCC to counter it. And we may see a speed race here. DJB actually, in my opinion, I think DJB FCC is very poor drafting, but we'll see how he goes about the draft. Because DJB FCC is way too passive in terms of this aggressive type, because DJB likes to play aggressive, while FCC likes to play passive, and then playing aggressive with a passive unit is counterintuitive, where you're basically not really getting value from her gaining that turn. And we'll see the Hellion Luma brought out because Aram has been taken out last game. ML Arya comes out to try to provide ER to maybe just mitigate any debuffers that can be brought out early from SYAC's side. In my opinion, he could try to bring out fixed damage, but Blue Peyra comes out. Fireflan, yes, I was going to say Fireflan on 4 is probably the best bet. And now, Light could bring out counters to these units. Solitaria, yes, his go-to counter to Fireflan, very solid. But now he needs to pick another unit that's can provide some way to alleviate this Peyra pick, because Peyra could cause a lot of damage with her unbuffable, as well as taking turn 1. He already has enough damage right side, in my opinion. Maybe he goes for a cleanser, or maybe he just doubles down and tries to just fully kill turn 1. Holiday Euphine, Dilibet. I think Dilibet is probably not as good as his other picks. I think, in my opinion, I would go Holiday Euphine over Dilibet. But I guess you can also say Dilibet could be a little more useful in terms of defense buff and not taking as much damage. And we see a Lionheart Sermia brought out last. I believe you should just go for the Lionheart Sermia ban. She's gonna cause too much damage when you proc MO Lewis buff, or MO Arya S1 extra attack, or Solly S1 extra attack. And now Fireflan is let loose in this game as we go for a Solly ban, and now we will have to see if this Fireflan will cause havoc with her S1s, or Light will be able to take the turn and be able to take her out through Lua and Peyra's fixed damage. But with FCC in the fray, we will probably be halted quickly. And with the S1 coming out early, Dilibet just looks dead. Dilibet is going to die from this Flan S3, and now Light's already down a unit. It's not looking good for him. DJB taking the turn here, he just goes for the S3 to give his team tempo, and we're going to probably just it's over in my opinion. How do you kill Fireflan with fixed damage units only? And the hit on Peyra with Fireflan, in my opinion, seals the deal. How do you play this game? Lua will not land her buffs, and it's over. Game 2 is already done. Honestly, I think this game was also decided in draft phase, and it looks like Light's the road to E7 ends here. I think game 2 could have been played better from Light, but it really required you to have the speed to stop the Urban Shadow from perma-cycling on your team. And I don't think Light has any answers to that, which is very hard. And game 3, the problem is Dilibet wasn't able to tank the Fire Flan's S1, S3 combo, which in my opinion doesn't even matter as you don't have enough thick damage to kill through FCC's shields plus her anti-fix damage. And that looks to be the main like decider. Fire Flan being too strong of a unit to do anything into. Honestly, I think Light could have brought out the Lionheart Sarmia himself, as Fire Flan will not be allowed to do anything. In my opinion, I actually think Lionheart Sarmia instead of Dilibet is so much stronger for Light's draft, as if um SYAC goes for Solitaria ban, Lionheart Surmia will proc off A-Flan and will not be able to kill. But if he goes for the Lionheart Surmia ban, he has to fight the Solitaria and he'll have no tempo as Fire Flan will have no stacks. So, in my opinion, I think it's a outdraft by SYAC. I don't think this Dilibet was the best pick. I think if Light had this new Lionheart Surmia unit built, he should have definitely picked it on 5 instead, as I think it would put SYAC in a hard corridor and you force ban 5. Because what can SYAC do from this position? I don't think there's anything he could do from this position if Lionheart was picked on 5. I mean, honestly, both parties, they deserve to where they got. I think they both played well throughout the tournament, and I'm happy to see a competitive environment at least, where we can see units that we don't usually see come out, and we see stuff involving Hellion Lua when Hellion Lua has even fallen out of the meta due to ARAM. And we're seeing stuff like Tori and Celine bans on round 2 as we know the power of them when many of the strong units are taken out of the pool. But I think that'll be it for my analysis. I think this was a very interesting game to watch to see how two players with two very different styles fight against each other. And I'll see you guys later.